Sam, thank you so much for joining the PrepZone podcast. How are you today?
Good, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Listen, we've been trying to do this for a long time, haven't we?
We
I
have.
mean, we just passed. I know it was athletic trainer month, and we tried to do there during March, but it was just so busy with basketball. You and I were on the courts all the time, but we'll do it now. Talk about it. How long have you been with Staples now?
This is going on my second year, just the end of my second year.
Yeah, I still remember the announcement. That's right. I did.
It feels like it was a lot longer than 2 years ago.
Yeah, it does, right? Because it's like I think I don't know how you feel because we go from season to season, right? I mean, it just never stops.
Yeah.
So the switch for me happens real fast, and they seem to kind of mumble together.
Yeah. Especially this year with basketball going to the state championship. I was at lacrosse practice tryouts in the morning and then state championship at night in the same day.
It's great. And we're fortunate because our teams do really well.
Yeah.
Keeps us busy, doesn't it?
It does.
So let's first start, I know, everyone sees you around the courts, the fields and all that. Sam, talk to us a little bit about, well, first let's start with how did you come about for the Staples job? How did that start? How did you meet VJ? How did you learn about it? And walk us through that, how that happened.
So I had been out of the Navy for about a year or so. I had taken my exam, and I applied to a bunch of schools in Fairfield County. And Staples was just one of them on the list. And then when I started getting calls back and stuff, actually, I don't know that VJ even knows this, but he texted me and it said, "Hey, this is VJ from Staples." And I was like, I didn't apply to the office supply store. Why am I getting a text message about an application I put in? So I had deleted the message, and I was talking to one of my friends at the physical therapy place, and she was like, "Didn't you apply to a high school called Staples?" And I was like, "Oh my God." So I went back into my deleted messages and I texted back.
That is a great story.
And then my first interview.
That is great. So we get confused by that a lot. People say Staples and all that. It's like, I remember that. So oddly enough, I used to work for Staples. Not the store, but I was on the corporate side of Staples. Yeah. And whenever I'm in town, I'd say I work for Staples. They go to high school. I'm like, no, the store. So now it's different. And that process. So you got back to VJ. How was it? Did you see the school? How did that come about once that kind of happened?
He invited me in for just a conversation, showed me a little, it was the pool and the field house area, and then went in for my second round interview. Didn't know it was going to be a group interview, so I had Adam, I had Barry in there, I had Michelle, VJ, and Jenna, the tennis coach, in there, and I walked in and I was not expecting there to be 5 or 6 people in there. But had my second interview, it went well. So they invited me back a third time, kind of gave me a tour of the facilities and everything. And then August of 24.
You were on board.
Right up and running.
So it's so great. So what you just said there is probably something a lot of people don't know. That you go through a process and you meet with the coaches. That's something that's really cool. That was just something good inside. At least for me, I didn't know that. And I'm sure most people that watching this listen didn't know that. But that's pretty cool. So now you mentioned about the Navy. So let's dive into that because I'm always fascinated, by all that. But talk to us a little bit. What was your time like? Where were you? What was that experience like for you?
So I graduated college during COVID, so in 2020. So I went home for spring break in March and I didn't go back to school. I finished my senior year, all of my big athletic training projects at home. A little before that, there was a Navy recruiter there and I had wanted to in high school, never did. And I was like, I guess this is my opportunity to at least have a conversation. And then COVID happened and I had signed right after everything shut down. So it was actually St. Patrick's Day of 2020. So it was the 13th, everything shut down, and it was right after. So at least I had a steady, stable job while the world was
not working.
So I was in Great Lakes, Illinois for a boot camp for a few months, and then Pensacola to get my kind of just general training I was an aircraft engine mechanic. So I was just kind of like the general overall of like engines and learning about engines. And then I went to Norfolk, Virginia for my like specialty school, and I worked on C2 Greyhounds, which are actually, there's only one squadron left. They're slowly decommissioning them because they've been in use since the 80s.
And I'm sorry, is that a type of plane? I'm sorry,
It is. No, that's okay.
Ignorant about it. So
it's okay.
I'm coming in from, I know nothing.
Okay.
So
it's a cargo plane.
Cargo plane, okay.
It's the largest aircraft that can still land on an aircraft carrier. Okay. And it's 2 engines, propellers, and it's insane that it's still being used, and it started in like the early 80s, and most of the parts are still the same.
I am fascinated by planes on so many levels.
Yeah.
Like, and we were talking before this about podcasts, right? So I have this podcast I listen to, and it's in Portuguese. I'm from Brazil, but it's this guy going over like about all the, not a great subject, but about plane accidents and what they learn from each plane accident, how they make it better, and why it takes like 2-3 years for somebody to just kind of like figure out what the accident's like. But the fact that you're talking about parked planes that you're just going in there and working on them.
Yeah, I mean, my squadron, so after Norfolk, I got orders to Japan. So so
you've lived a wild life.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, keep going. That's
so
great.
I lived in Japan for 1.5 years. I was on a Marine Corps base in a small little farm town about an hour south of Hiroshima, Iwakuni.
You speaking Japanese?
Very little bit. I could get through a 7-Eleven with no English.
More than me.
It took me a while to get there, but it was so much fun. Just experience a different culture, different like way of life, a lot slower and calmer than it is in the U.S.
I hear that. Yeah, I hear that. But that's phenomenal. So I'm sorry, keep going. So you were in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my squadron, we only had 2 planes, but it definitely kept us busy. And so we were technically forward deployed. So we're deployed to all the time because we're stationed outside of the U.S. So they went on deployment 6 months, and we're home for 6 months. But that home for 6 months was getting everyone qualified, all the pilots, all the new sailors, everyone. So it was nonstop basically for 6 months, or for a year round, nonstop.
That is like, it's incredible. I mean, I love it. Like I said, you're talking so many things I'm fascinated about, planes and the Navy. So you travel, like why you said you were always stationed and traveling a lot. I'm sure you got great stories. I don't know if you can share some of them, but is there like one story you can say, hey, this is kind of like maybe, you know, not defined, but it's something interesting that happened in my time there that you kind of hold dear to your heart?
There's a couple. I'll do the first one. It was my first like trip outside, so they do like a welcome like presentation and everything, and then you go on a trip out into town. And in the summer,
I'm gonna actually just bring your microphone close. I want to make sure everybody hears you. Go ahead.
So in the summer, it's monsoon season.
Yeah.
So thunderstorms every day, like torrential downpours. So of course we go out into town. There's a famous bridge. It's the Kintai Bridge. This time of year, especially, cherry blossoms everywhere. The entire like river and the bridge over, there's hundreds of thousands of cherry blossoms. So we're walking, we're crossing the bridge. On the other side of the bridge, there's an ice cream stand. It has like over 100 different kinds of flavors of ice cream. And I'm sitting there with a few of my friends, and all of a sudden it starts to thunder and lightning, and we hear a massive like crack of lightning. Not 15 feet from us, lightning hit a tree and it starts smoking, and the tree falls over, and we're like, oh, we have to walk back across this bridge, and we're all carrying umbrellas with metal tips. So,
oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, that's like a lot. You sit there like, oh, that could have been me. It was so close.
So, like, if you've ever been around when like a transformer explodes, the air gets like electrified and the hair stands up on the back of your neck. Like, I had a feeling lightning was gonna strike somewhere close, because like the half second before that, I felt that. It was like the air like got electrified, and it was like I got chills, and then it's the big crack of lightning.
It's interesting you say that, because the only time I can think about that is like you see the movies.
Yeah.
Right? So you see the movie and you're like, does that really happen? And it does.
It does. And the tree wasn't even like the highest tree around. It was this little tiny tree. It just happened to be right where it needed to. And the top like foot just like tipped over. because of where it got struck and it started smoking. And I was like,
So how did you guys make it? You just like...
We were like, all right, we're going right now. It's not raining. So we're going to go without umbrellas and we're going to make our way across the bridge. And the bridge is tall. I would at least maybe 100 feet in the air, and it's like humps. So you like climb up one, you're at the top, and then you walk down, and it's like 5 or 6 different like
movie stuff. That's like movie stuff. Yeah,
it is. And even there, like we got there and you look around and it's like these lush green forests, and then you have the river and this, like, it's one of the most famous bridges in Japan. And this
what is it
bridge,
called?
Kintai Bridge.
Bridge, okay.
And it's like, it literally looks like it's from a postcard. Anytime I went out, I was like, I'm living in a postcard. Any picture I took, would have been perfect for a postcard. It's
crazy. The one thing I know the feeling, because I went to a destination wedding in Portugal once, and like it was just like a movie, because like I said, you know the scenery and everything. And I remember going over to I knew the groom, and I said, dude, I feel like I'm in a movie, right? You usually get that feeling because everything around you is just so like majestic and perfect, whatever that the word is, for good or bad. In your case, like kind of like a movie, crazy going on, but you feel like you're living some outer body experience. It's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
And even it was one of my first few weeks there. There was something that had to get done in order to fly the next morning because they were on deployment. So we were doing 12 hours on, 12 hours off. So I was on the night shift. So from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. we're working. And at night is when most of the maintenance gets done because they're flying during the day. So it's like whatever time the sun rises, but where the back of our hangar was is where the sun rose. And so just as it like cracks over the horizon, the sky goes from like light, like blue, like about to like rise, and then it's like this bright orangey red, yellow, like again from a movie, and it just unbelievable. And I have a couple pictures of like, or I think I still have them, of like the sun rising from, and we're just sitting inside of our like shop watching the sunrise.
See, remember when we had the smoke from Canada that came the other day? When wasn't it one day like the sun went dark, like or whatever? That's kind of, when that thing happened, you remember. Yeah, you remember. Like it sticks with you forever. That's crazy. So that's wild, and that lasted even to when you said it. So it was a couple years ago.
It was 3 years in December. Wow, that I got out.
So, like, you must think that life as a wrecker is pretty dull compared to what you went through. No, you got a lot.
It's surprisingly very like. There's a lot of similarities, and I think that's why, like, being by myself this year, I felt it's gone pretty smoothly because, I mean, in the Navy, you practice for everything.
Right.
Like, just for another story, like we had launched a plane. We're going about what we need to do. It gets put over the 1MC, which is like the projector out for like everyone. Plane's coming back. We got an engine down. So it's coming back. We flew out with 2 working engines. Something happened in flight, coming back with only 1 working engine. So immediately there was like 56, 57 people in my squadron. Every single, from officers to like the lowest enlisted, dropped everything. We all knew what we needed to do. We all grabbed our helmets and we went out to the flight line to make sure that this plane came back and landed safely. And just with everything that goes on at Staples, with all of the fields, all of the games all at once, like everything needs to be so rehearsed and practiced. So if something happens, say at Wakeman, and I'm at the baseball field, me, the coaches, everyone knows exactly what to do to make sure that those kids are safe and okay.
And that's like, I feel like a little bit of what you do is, it's almost like a referee. You only notice the referee when he does something bad. Yeah. When you don't, if the game goes great and you don't notice the ref, that means the ref is doing his perfect job. It's kind of the same thing with you. Like, we don't hear, like everybody's getting taken care of. Athletes are, always getting their tape and everything like that. So that means that you're just like in the background doing the job. And I remember we did a post last year where like, I think it was Gavin, like you're treating him during the game, right? So the very end game. So it's like, right, the game's going great, we're winning, but like this is stuff that people don't see, right? You're trying to keep the players on the field, and then like nobody sees it. Now, if he's hurt, they would see it, but just because he wasn't hurt, it's like it's fine.
Yeah.
But you were trying to, you were doing something so he wouldn't get hurt. That's the kind of thing that I find amazing.
Yeah, and that's what I think a lot of people don't understand about athletic training is that like the only time that they really see us is when someone's injured or when we pull someone out from play. And the last thing I ever want to do is pull someone out because they're injured. So I do anything and everything that I can to make sure that they're safely being able to play.
Okay, now this is controversial, and you can take the fifth if you want, but it's like, have you? And I want to phrase this correctly because I know our audience, right? So I know our audience, but it's like. I'm going to use a professional term. So I'm a Giant fan, right? And I remember that last year, the quarterback Jackson Dart goes in the tent. The coach goes right in the tent right after him to make sure, it kind of like pressures him to come back. How do you deal with, because listen, sometimes, I'm going to use Coach Shore's line. Everyone is valued the same, but not everyone is treated differently. I'm sorry, Coach, if I misspoke, but something like that. So which means like, if you have someone who's, one of your star players and they get hurt, obviously the coach and the team is going to treat it differently, but I don't see that going on around Staples. But let's just say if it did, how do you as an athletic trainer handle that kind of pressure that can come when a star player goes down?
So I think going back to the Navy, that just helped me build the confidence to like know that what I'm seeing is, and I have to trust myself to know what I'm seeing, and that it doesn't, not that it doesn't matter what the coaches are feeling when I have to pull someone, but like, luckily our coaches are fantastic. If I or any athletic trainer at Staples says, hey, they can't go back in, they're done for today, they're like, okay. I don't think I've ever had a coach question one of my decisions.
And that speaks volume because
it does.
I could totally see that happening. I mean, and it would be human nature, right? I mean, you really could, like, let's say if it would happen, it wouldn't. I think, like, how about athletes? Do they actually say, "Hey, let me play"? You ever get that?
All the time. I argue more with the athletes about playing than I do the coaches.
They want to come back in immediately.
Yeah, they're like, "I'm fine," and I'm like, "You can't walk. You're not fine."
I go back to, you're going to remember it was the FCX final. Sawyer was hurt. Remember that? And he forced himself in. You're like, no, you pulled him.
Yeah.
I remember that because, I was very close to the volleyball team, but he was an example. And it's nothing, Sawyer was just like, he wants to play. This is like the FCX final. You want to be on the court. So you're going to do whatever you want to be on. But I remember you were like, no, he's got to come out. And you were pulling, and it was the right call. He was badly injured.
Yeah.
But it's like, but that's a fine line you have to walk, isn't it?
And like, I was right there with the coach of like, do we want to like pull him? Do we want to see if he could keep going? And we made the decision. We're like, no, he needs to come off. We need to figure out what's going on. And because I think we had states to worry about last year.
Exactly.
So
we had, there was so much going on, but it's like, that's one that comes to mind because like I was so close, and it's like, I do remember that vividly, right? So I'm sitting there, and as we're covering the games, we're writing the stories, right? So like that was a storyline. But I specifically remember, like, I remember you on the sideline, right? I was set lock, and you guys are like, we got, even though, but again, it was a point where you both saw that he's got to come out, but the athlete's going. And it's going to happen everywhere, right? The players are going to want to play, and you want that because if somebody gets, at the varsity level, if you're, one of the, on the pillars of a team, by nature, you want to play. You want to be on the court, or you want to be in the field. It's just what it is. But it's interesting to say, like, so you have an experience, so that's a good thing. It speaks volumes to everything. Now, what is I guess, let's talk first. What do you like most about being an athletic trainer?
I mean, I sit and I watch sports all day, every day. For work. I don't ever really feel like I'm working. I say all the time, it's like, it's a good day when I sit and I watch sports all day. It's a bad day when I have to work because that means someone's injured.
Right.
But I mean, I get to be outside. I joke around with the kids all the time. And like, I could do that at a college level, but it's a little different at the high school level. They'll give it back a little bit. And I think that's funny too. But I love what I do. I knew I wanted to do something medical, and then I played sports all growing up. So
What did you play growing up?
I played softball in elementary school, basketball, and then basketball in high school, soccer in high school, and I actually played Division II soccer in college.
Oh, you used to Michigan. Where did college you go to?
Dominican University in New York.
Oh, very cool. So you played. What was your position in soccer?
I was a goalkeeper.
You're a goalkeeper. There you go.
Yeah.
So my older son is a goalkeeper, and I like to say goalkeepers are almost like pitchers. I consider and that's because like I grew up watching soccer, right? And I feel like it's a skill position.
Absolutely.
You're not like a soccer player. You are a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
You're like the instincts are different. The way you view you're pretty much the only person on the pitch that's got everything in front of you. Everybody's got their back to the point at some point, right? So it's like it's a vocal position, all that. Did you enjoy that?
Oh, I did a lot.
Yeah. What memorable game? Anything that that one game that you did some stuck to?
We ended up losing, but it was conference finals in high school. We lost 2-1. It was like 30 degrees, pouring outside. We're playing on a grass field, so it's muddy. Yeah. But no, that was a good game. That was, I think, the first time in a while we had been to conference championships. So
it's funny how sometimes, and it's tough to explain to kids, or to anybody, that the memory of something is bigger than the result of that.
Yeah.
It's like I look at, that FCX final, right? I mean, just being there, like me as a dad experiencing my son play that, it was pretty amazing. Regardless of it would be great if they won, but it really took nothing from the ride of that team.
Yeah.
So it's like, you just talked about something. It's like, okay, well, we didn't win it, but like, it was so memorable to be there. And Gold Shore, just in the city we're in, he said that state championship was the best night of their season. It was the only loss. He still figures the best night of the season. Crazy how we are like that. And it's hard to explain until you live it.
It is. And I think it's once time has passed that you can really like reflect back and be like, this was an experience that I had with only the people who were also there to experience it.
Bonds you for life.
Yeah. And something that I've said to a few athletes is that like, if you put 100% into what you're doing, the results don't matter because you can't control the results. You can only control the effort that you put in. And if you put in everything that you have, then that's all you can do.
Yeah. And it's like, I find, and again, there's so many things like, that I think that, that maybe like PrepZone relates so much. What you do is like, we're around all the games, right? And in our lives, like we want everybody to win, things like that. But because we're around the team so much, we see things that maybe people who are not around the teams don't see. The effort, the practices, all that goes in. So it's like, yeah, we take the results hard as everybody does, but there's a sense of participation into all that. Do you feel that a little bit? Like, it's like, I feel like I'm part of this. And I know I'm not, but I do feel like I am.
Yeah. I'm with the teams from the moment that tryouts happen to the end of their season. Every sport. So especially with the kids who get injured, I'm with them more, but like I try to go up and be at as many practices as I can, like show face, say hi, just watch practices. Even some of the basketball, because boys basketball practiced last, so they were the only ones. I'd get all my stuff done, and I'd go up and they'd have the 3-point machine out, and I'd hop in line and I'd try and shoot some 3-pointers. Made a few.
That's awesome. I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah, and just in lines, high fives all around, and
that's pretty cool. So I asked about the favorite part. You said, so what's the least favorite part? Do you have a least favorite part?
When people get injured, even though it's part of the job, it's why I have a job. But
it's tough.
Yeah, I don't ever want to see anyone, especially season-ending injuries, career-ending injuries. I don't ever want to see those.
Yeah, I mean, let's get technical. From your standpoint, what is, let's say, an athlete is watching this, is like, and I want to get your take on this, excuse me, because I've had, we've tackled sports specialization a little bit, right? With Dr. Lander, he was here one time, we talked about it. And his whole point was that when you're just doing one movement over and over and over again, you are more prone to injury than if you are doing more things, which means, like, let's just say if you're a multi-sport athlete, you are working different types of muscles, different types of joints, and that makes maybe your body a little stronger, and because you're just doing so many movements. So from your standpoint, like, what is the, and I don't know if there's the best way to prevent injury, because it's an injury you can't really prevent, but what can an athlete do to kind of stay on the field and on the court more?
As much as I completely agree with Dr. Lander, like, multi-sport athletes have less injuries because they're doing different movement patterns. They're using all the same muscles in the joints, but they're using them in different movement patterns. So like soccer, so we have soccer and basketball athlete. You're using your feet, you're using your lower legs a lot to run, but like also to kick a ball. So like now come to basketball, you have that like mind-foot coordination for running, for footwork, that kind of stuff. But then you're also bringing in hand-eye coordination, all of that. Like, you're much multi-sport athlete until you physically have to specialize. So pretty much till college. And even with the UCLA women's basketball, there's a player who she's on the basketball team and she's a softball player at UCLA. She's a multi-sport athlete in college.
It can be done.
Yeah, it's very, very hard, but it can be done.
And it was great you just said, like, it kind of, and we can try to explain it to, and again, listen, when I was a parent, I was probably guilty of that, right? Someone said, you got to play just one sport, this and that. And, knock on, my kids didn't have any of those injuries and things like that. But, it's like we always talk about, learning more and being more informed. And what you're saying right there, a lot of our audience is people that they're still like, just outside Staples, and then they watch because they want to see, what do I need to do to play at that team? What do I need to do to be part of that, right? Because I mean, if we're honest with ourselves, like the amount of people that are going to go play in college is not a lot. But
I
high
think
school,
it's like less than 1%
exactly.
of all high school athletes.
But in high school, you have a really good shot of playing. So this might be like, someone's, final, I know it was for me, final time I played, and I've played sports. So it's like, you want to stay that, but so multi-sports is something that you really vouch for as far as preventing injuries.
Yeah. And even if it's one sport with Staples and then club sports in the other seasons.
Valid point.
Yeah. Overworking is also something that, like, especially high school athletes who want to play multiple sports, they're playing multiple sports in the same season. That will turn to overuse injuries. You're at a higher risk for injury.
What would you consider overworking?
So if you're going from like basketball practice to then a lacrosse practice
on the same
day, or you have a fall sport practice, you're going to basketball and then you're going to lacrosse, or whatever your spring and winter and fall sport is, like, to do 2 to 3 sports in the same season, that's gonna, because you're probably running in all the sports. You're most likely using upper body and something in all the sports. And periodization, when it comes to like...
Sorry, what was that word again?
Periodization.
Okay.
So if you're only doing one sport, this is if you're specified, you're in season. So like I was a college soccer player. If your sport is in the fall, that's when you want to start like being your best, like you're peaking, you're everything for that sport. Great. That winter, that 3 months after, you're recovering. You're slowly getting back into the weight room. If you had ankle problems, if you had knee problems, you're working to get those sorted, build that specific strength, get out of pain, that kind of stuff. That spring, that's when you're really starting to work power. You're starting to get into more endurance conditioning. Then that summer, that preseason, you're ramping up for that specific sport. So like, it's really, when you're doing multiple sports in the same season to get ready for a different season, it's so hard to do all of that. There's only so many hours in the day, and it's so hard to do everything enough to stay healthy.
And it's interesting because you bring that up. So it's like, let's just try to break this down. So we talk about, yes, we want multiple, being a multi-sport athlete is the ideal thing.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's like, well, then you can't be, doing your basketball season and getting ready for your baseball season.
Yeah.
That becomes like something that's not good for the body. So we have to understand our breaks and our limitations. That's the bottom line. And again, it's like there's no, I guess, maybe there is a science to it, but it's like the break time, I guess, what would you say, like, let's say someone is going through that, right?
Yeah.
And we see that a lot because, I'm not going to name names, but we know, you and I know personally, a bunch of athletes that do that. Go from football to basketball, from basketball to baseball, or basketball to volleyball, or football into soccer into baseball. We see all that. What is the appropriate amount, and how do you handle that?
So the appropriate amount is like it's person to person. That's why like athletic training, sports medicine in general is so tailored and so specific to each person. And athletes, you really just have to get to know like your body, and you have to know when you need a break, and also like maximizing your recovery. That's like the biggest thing, is because you can be in the weight room, you can be in the gym, on the field, but if you're not doing anything outside of that, then those like little injuries creep in. Oh, I've got some knee pain, I don't do anything about it. I've got ankle pain, I got back pain. Like the first thing I say when someone comes in is, and it's not like a injury that happened like on the field, like, oh, I sprained my ankle. Oh, I hurt my shoulder or something like that. It's like, oh, my knee hurts. It's been hurting for a little while. I'm like, how often are you stretching? How often are you foam rolling? What kind of mobility are you doing?
It's like when you go to the dentist, they say, how often you floss, right? Right? Isn't that right? It's like, because nobody, our kids are much better because I get early to the basketball, I see them stretch and I see all that.
I was saying the boys basketball team is the one team I don't have to worry about foam rolling, stretching, and doing their mobility every single day consistently.
They do, yeah. But it's like I remember like when I was going to high school, we never stretched. You can't stretch. Like, you gotta let's go.
It was everyone get in a circle, 10 seconds each position, and then you go and play.
Go and play. That's sort of right. You get in the circle, and then you have the captain like a 5-second stretch or whatever. Oh, let's get through this and let's get.
The captain's in the middle, say 1, everyone else is 2, and it's 10 seconds, and you're done.
But you're right. So it's so key to all that stuff, right? I mean, and it's what you said is the right thing. Like we all have to know our bodies, and I guess I'll say this to the parents and the kids, and you can kind of say it's like we have to respect each other. The parents have to respect when the kids say, "I'm tired. I don't need to do this," and the kids need to also to be vocal about it, because you can't. It's like it just has to be just a lot of communication.
Yeah. Communication, at least between me, the parents, the kids, the coaches, is everything, because like I see the kids and then I have to communicate to the coaches, communicate to the parents if I need to, and then the coaches communicate with me, the parents do, the kids do. So like my job, 90% of it is on the field in the athletic training room, but that last 10% is all of the communication, all of the preparation and that kind of stuff for all of the seasons.
That's great. All right, so let's tackle some stuff if people get to know you. What was so far your favorite game that you attended as a wrecker?
My favorite game.
I know there's going to be a lot of them. But let's just say
there
memorable.
are a lot of them.
Yeah. Most memorable one. Let's put it that way.
Okay, most memorable one. We were talking about it before we started recording. The field hockey FCAC final.
That rainy day.
When it was tie. I think it was overtime.
Sophia
scored the winning goal, and actually, because I think that was my first championship as a wrecker.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So that was, and it's always against Darien.
Yeah. No, it is. Well, field hockey. That's where we go, right? Those are powerhouses. Yeah, it's like, because were you here for this football state championship?
I wasn't.
You weren't here, so you were right after that, right? So it's like, say, because that was my first championship as a wrecker, as covering, right? Because I remember being on the field. You're right, and that first one will stick with you because that's like the first time you experienced, a trophy and actually winning, and then all that goes with it.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we can talk as much about, and we know we're focused on process of that, but it is pretty special when you get that.
Yeah.
All right, so people get to know a little bit of you. Morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
Yeah, you like things at night, yeah? What, are you like a sweet tooth or you like more salty stuff?
It depends on what I'm feeling. I'll go through periods where it's like sweet, and then there'll be times where I mix it up with like salty, but like
cake or ice cream then? What is it?
God,
It's like it's almost like shoot me over the head with it. Like it's like
ice cream, because you can add some of the like salty.
That's probably one of the best answers because I've heard it. Because like I'll take ice cream because I can add more stuff to it. It's not only by itself. That's right. So what is like I guess what's kind of series and TV shows things that you like?
So if I didn't do athletic training, I was looking to do like forensics of some sort.
So you like CSI, that kind of stuff.
So I was watching NCIS this morning. All of the like crime shows, cop shows.
What was your favorite one?
Criminal Minds will always be
Mount Rushmore. You got Criminal Minds. What else?
How many is that? 4?
4. You got 4. So you got Criminal Minds.
Criminal Minds, original NCIS.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Oh, Bones.
Good one too.
And Blue Bloods.
I got into Blue Bloods.
Blue Bloods is so really good.
It was so good. I never understood like why they killed off the mom. Ooh, we're gonna give away people. I
know
it's like I never understood that helicopter accident. We came back and I'm like, what is that all about? Why do they have to get like? I just like fight. Now, funny story with Blue Bloods. Okay, so this is a true story. When that thing was going on. So Tom Selleck, remember they used to do some of those scenes, they were downtown in New York City, right over there. So everybody thought it was the police headquarters, but they didn't do that. They did that where it's like, like you got the Statue of Liberty and there's like, I keep forgetting the name of that subway station at the end there. So you got Wall Street and there's I used to work at 39 Broadway. So like I'd leave and I'd go to Brooklyn a lot. So I'd go down and I'd go. So this is exactly what happened. I'm walking through it and I'm going to a meeting. And they used to tape things like right in the middle of the day. So like think about how close you are right now.
Yeah.
Tom Selleck was facing the other way, and he was like ready to shoot, right? So I'm just walking and I stopped and I said, "Hey Tom," and he goes, "Hey," and I just kept walking. That was like, it was so, like you're not paying attention to what's going on. I'm just like on my phone, I'm trying to get directions for my next appointment. I said, "Hey Tom," he goes, "Hey," and I just
keep going on with your day. I know Mount Rushmore's only 4, but I gotta add another one.
What's that?
Law and Order SVU. That I feel like that's just like a classic.
It's like I can't tell you like how many episodes I've seen of that.
Yeah.
It is just like so good. And I think the cast of characters on that was really good too. I mean, I think it's like, they had Ice Cube and all that. I mean, it was just like, and what was interesting about that show specifically is that, they kept replacing people, but the people they would bring on was like even better than it was before. So they did a really good job with casting that. Dick Wolf did an amazing job.
Really good. And that will always have a special place because they actually filmed one of the episodes in the dining hall of Dominican College, now it's Dominican University, but where I went to school. And in the science building, they did was make a makeshift hospital and that kind of stuff.
So that's close to your heart. You're like, that's my stomping ground.
That was like after I graduated, but everyone that from there that I followed on like Facebook and social media, taking pictures with Mariska Hargitay and like the cast and everything. And I'm like,
cool. Yeah.
When I'm not there.
I know. Listen, they nailed every. I don't think I've ever seen a bad episode of that show.
No.
All right, and it's like they nailed everything on that. It's one of the few.
And they still come up with like good ideas of episodes.
It's still running. It's like I think it ties a lot of stuff that people are drawn to. It's almost like when you're driving and there's an accident, you can't stop but look away.
Yeah.
I mean, look at it, right? You don't look away. You look at it, right? It's like. I still like, and it's so funny because it's like every time we're driving and there's like an accident on the other side, I make the complaint of saying, why don't people just keep going? Yet, when I'm going, I look over too as well, right? I don't look away. Like, it's so funny. Now, I want to ask you this question. If you could relive one day in your life, if you can either live it again or watch it from, let's say, above what that day was, what would that day be for you?
Oh, that's a really good question. And this has nothing to do with anything that we've talked about previously.
No, that's we want to know you.
Yeah, so in this, I don't make this public, like super public. But I had top surgery in January of 2023, and that few days after my surgery, being able to like just have everything off and see for the first time of like, okay, this feels like me. If I had just like a fly on the wall rewatching that, yeah.
That's great. That's great. Because, and that's the point, right? You get to, I ask this question usually the first time I have a guest, and this won't be our first time. We're going to do more of this because it's so, I could dive in, like, you know, so much more in the Navy, all this stuff. But it kind of reveals something about ourselves every time we think about that, right? It's like, and I tell people, you know, like, you know, because if it all depends, like, you know, if you go like to a dad like me, it's going to be, you know, the birth of the kids, it's going to be like the wedding. So you got to take all that away because those days are just so special to you. But there's always something, like you just said, that reveals something about yourself, right? That's so special and dear to your heart. So, but thanks for sharing that. That's great.
And I don't, because my job is not about me.
Right.
So like that's why I don't ever like, I don't correct people with pronouns. I don't do it because it's not about me.
Right.
I'm confident and comfortable with myself enough to know that it's like,
it's
going to happen, but.
And it's so interesting because it's like, and that's the thing about, you know, about PrepZone. I kind of the same thing I tell people. It's like, you know, and people like, they look at me and all that, but it's really not about me or anybody who's doing this. It's about the kids and it's about everything, like you said, like you're doing it. Like, yeah, it's like, I don't say this stuff because it's not about me. Like the job is about the job, right?
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because it's, and we kind of like, we become the face, like for example, people think like, granted, they're going to think of you, right? But it's like, well, it's not about me, I'm doing, but still, but you can't help, but it helps us to do a good job, I guess.
Yeah. It helps me just like me being the most authentic version of myself helps me not be worried about me and just be able to focus on the kids.
Yeah.
Because for, I mean, a long time, I was worried about how everyone perceived me just because I was very insecure. And now that I'm much more confident and comfortable with myself, that my mind isn't always worried about everyone else's perspective of me. I can just go about my day and worry about the kids because that's what's important.
One of the biggest lessons my dad taught me, and listen, I come from a background that, you know, I was born in Brazil. So I was born there, and I came to the U.S. and I was 13. It was like, my wife and I always talk about, she goes, oh, you came here at 13. I came in June, I turned 13 in July. So it was like, I consider 12, she says I was 13, regardless. Came very young. But, you know, so I came from a very multiracial, multicultural background in Brazil, because that's what it is, right? And I remember my dad, even when we were there, he kept saying that, he goes, the biggest form of anything in life is acceptance. So just accept people for what they are.
Yeah.
And that's really, because that's what everybody wants, right? And everybody's like, because if you can do that, and if you can, like, you know, accept people, like, and be accepted, because it's like, it's almost like goes, but I always feel like you give out the vibes that you want to get.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, if you give out acceptance vibes, you know, that you're all that, you kind of get that back, because the world's spread there. Listen, I don't believe in karma, but I will say this. I think that there is a really, you know, there's really a force out there that kind of gets us to say, you know what, it's like, if I give out good vibes and if I do the right thing, eventually it'll come back to me in the same way.
Yeah.
I honestly feel that. And so like, for me, it's like acceptance and all that. It's so big on me because, like I said, it was given to me at a very early age, right? As you do that, because it's like, and like you said, it's just about us just live and let live.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's like, just like everyone is just like, and what's important to you might not be important to me, but it's still as much important to you. Like, for example, like I remember, you know, I got into, you know, there was, with PrepZone, I started covering different sports. And I think I've said this to Coach K, I'll say, listen, I never got lacrosse in the beginning. You know, I was like, you know, and then I started to actually learn it, and it is a fantastic sport. Yeah. Right? I mean, it's fast-paced. It can change in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
Right? But just think of something like that. So I might have been someone who like would never say, lacrosse stinks. I don't like lacrosse. You know what I mean? But I never gave it a chance.
Yeah.
I had never given it a chance to understand it, you know, to accept it. When I did, I'm like, this is great. I've been missing this my entire life. Right?
Yeah. And it's like, everyone asks, it's like, well, what's your favorite sport to cover? And it's like, well, I don't really have a favorite sport to cover, because like field hockey. I'd never watched field hockey before.
Neither.
So like field hockey, like it's not my favorite sport, like, to watch, but like with these kids playing, like, I'll sit and I'll watch and I'll get really into it.
100%.
If you see me on the sideline for a game, I am probably one of the loudest people on the sideline. You probably can't hear me because of all the other people cheering.
Well, I do like when you do the mic, like the videos, like the reaction. Those are pretty cool. Because, you know, I love sideline stuff. I love background stuff. And then so field hockey, like when I had Ian for the first podcast, I asked him how many players are on the pitch. That's how much I knew about field hockey. He goes, "You got 11, just like soccer." I'm like, okay, now we're getting somewhere, you know. But that's like, again, someone who knew nothing about it, that, all right, let me just try to learn about it. Let me understand it. And I'm like, wow, this is great. This is fantastic. Yeah. Well,
I'll watch any sport that the Rutgers are playing. Like even now, I'm watching Adam at Michigan. I watched Josh. He just had 15 saves against Syracuse. Like
it's great because you get to know and you get to know the players, right? And you get to know them. It becomes like, yeah, well, listen, we're not family, but we are because we kind of we kind of see the progress, and you really try to understand what people are. And that's the thing, like, the acceptance piece, the second part of advice, my dad was like, it's really hard to hate up close, which means when you get to know someone and you understand what they are, what they stand for, it's like, it's really like, wow, man. And so if I just said, just gotten to know this, like, kind of goes both ways in there. Yeah. And that's really how I feel about it.
And one of the first things that I put up in the athletic training room is one of my really good friends is a photographer, and he does self-portrait photos and stuff like that and prints. And I actually have above the treatment tables are 5 of his photos, and it's like protect your mental health, be you and people will accept you for who you are, or something like that. In order to bloom, you must grow is one of them. And then I can't remember what the other one is, but the one in the middle is a self-portrait shoot that he did. And it's just got sticky notes, and it says, and it's very small, so it's very subtle, and you don't really notice it unless you like look at it and read it. And it says pronouns matter, and then it's a bunch of sticky notes with different pronouns. And so it's up there. So like anyone who comes in, I had so many comments on it. Of just like, oh, I really like this. Like, oh, this is a good one. And then the ones, it's just inclusive. So someone comes in and they see it and they're like, okay, this is a space where I can talk to them. I can be myself. I can, yeah.
It's because it goes, it like, I feel like it's not just like, there's just so many things about inclusion, and people always think about, gender part of it, but it is not. I mean, there's a lot of, you think about, someone, I think I had someone here that we were talking about how sometimes we will look at ourselves and say, we characterize people like for what they do and not who they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and that's a very tricky situation. I know we're going down a path here, but it's like, think about it, right? Because it's like, am I really like, PrepZone, or am I just Steve?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just Steve. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's very difficult. And you are athletic, but you're just Sam, right? Yeah. I mean, you're not, you're an athletic trainer, but you are more than just the athletic trainer staples. You are Sam, like today, Navy, deployment, airplanes. There's just so much we talked about today that it's like, wow, there's just so much more and that's why I love this forum, because we can just get to know people. I mean, listen, we got a bunch of shows in common, right? I mean, our love for SVU, like all that stuff. It's just like, and I love for airplanes. Like I said, if you knew Portuguese, I'd send in that podcast I watched. And my wife keeps saying, how can you watch this podcast and still fly? I'm like, I'm fascinated by this. Because this podcast is 1 hour, about plane accidents.
Yeah.
It's like, but again, I see it as an education. How that made everything safer. Yeah. So like every time I see a podcast, I don't look at it as the crash. I look at that, what did they learn from that? And here's why when I fly today, it's safer. Right, because of that.
Yeah.
Same with athletic training, like you talked about. Well, the stretching helps. So it's like, okay, so now I need to stretch to make it safer. So and as I got into working out, I realized how important rest days are. Yeah. Rest days are everything.
Resting, which is hard to do.
It is very hard to do, but
it's very important.
Yeah, it's like I think it was like so Saturday I played some tennis in the morning and I tried to run a 10K in the afternoon. I had no gas left in the tank, 0. Yeah. When I got to the last mile, I had and it's not like I was out. I just had no gas left. I was playing tennis for a couple hours. Then I tried to run, and I'm like, I had to walk, and it wasn't because I was out of shape. I just had nothing to tank.
Yeah.
We got to keep it going.
Yeah.
Sam, well, I know it's late, but congratulations on Athletic Trainer
Thank you.
month. So important the work you do. We appreciate it very much. This won't be the last. I want to get, we got a lot of issues I think we should tackle together. I think people are going to enjoy it. But thanks so much for being on the podcast today.
Yeah, thanks to you for having me.